departure for New Earth to commence in T-minus 3 minutes.
First jump.
Yeah, just a little friendly advice.
Just get out of my seat. Come on.
There you go.
What's up?
What's up, Cody? How's it going?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You look like you're ready to play some games, like you're gaming.
I know. I borrowed this from my roommate. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't have
Awesome.
headphones.
Where are you at?
I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
John's Connect.
What's up? Hello.
What's up, John?
I need to change my name. This happens every time because my wife has the account.
I've seen this plenty of times, you know. Maybe we'll have an Ellen appearance. Who knows?
Yeah. It's rare that I remember. So usually it's like 45 minutes in. I'm like, oh, it says Ellen. So luckily I was on it. Hi, Cody.
Hey, John. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
And nice to meet you, Jim. How's it going?
Good. How are you, John?
Good. Just,
Where are you at? Cody's in Vancouver. Where are you at?
I'm in Tarzana, which is like,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
LA, basically. Suburbs.
Yes. And this is where I have been for 9 months in my guest bedroom.
Hey, better than on that ship, from what I saw.
That is true. That is very true.
Could be worse in that case,
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm glad to have you guys here and talk about the film and some more. That was, John, this is like right up your alley. I've seen your previous work. You love the sci-fi genre. You got a good pulse on it. But this one like initially kind of reminded me of like, I got the Aliens kind of vibe to this movie in a lot of ways. I wonder if that was kind of maybe an inspiration. I mean, you've done the genre for a while, so kind of wonder when you approach it, what is your kind of initial concept or idea you were especially going with this film?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Like Aliens was definitely an inspiration, The Thing, and all those sort of films like that and of that time too. I think we liked referencing sort of those 80s, 90s, sci-fi films, and definitely had that kind of industrial look to the ship. So I think you're spot on there with the inspirations.
Cody, what was your initial impression when you read the script? You're reading for your role. What were you thinking? What was the initial thing going through your mind that you remember?
The thing I connected to most was the family aspect of it, what you would do for your family. Noah, this guy, he's jumping onto a essentially like a military ship in way over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's there to be there and provide for his family, his partner, his unborn child. So I really connected with that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good perspective because it's the depth of the kind of the character, it really comes through that aspect of it. And all he does in the film kind of motivates that.
Right.
John, when you have someone like Bruce Willis on set, is he sort of like I know you're the director and kind of the guy helming the project, but is he sort of the captain too on the project when you have someone that's that big of a, presence and such a veteran actor and an accomplished individual? How do you kind of go about, because you had a great list of actors. I mean, from Cody to Rachel Nichols to Bruce, Thomas Jane, you got a hell, I don't know what kind of bribing you do, but you did a hell of a job to get them all together in this film.
Thanks. Yeah, the cast was awesome. Cody was amazing to work with and everybody else. And, it is a funny thing with Bruce is he's such an icon. And, so it's weird when he's all of a sudden standing in front of you, but he was a lot of fun actually. And he we shot in this town, Fitzgerald, Georgia, with this awesome community. And, he was very warm to all of them. And I think he made a lot of people's day. So he was a lot of fun to have on set.
Cody, for you remember John McClane. I'm sure Die Hard growing up. That's a guy is an icon in so many ways in every film. What is it kind of like? Do you have that moment of like, wow, I remember this growing up watching him. He was kind of an idol or to many, and then you get to work with him next. Do you still get that kind of a goosebump feeling that how far your career's come to, that you're at a point where you can work alongside of Bruce Willis?
Yeah. Definitely. Also the first day, I remember all of us were standing I think we shot the bunk bed scene first, and we're standing in that bunk, and we're all kind of standing there waiting for him to arrive to set. We're all kind of tensed up, like, oh my God, it's really happening. And he walks in, and it's very surreal. Yeah, it was very surreal a lot of the time.
I must imagine that must be a cool moment, not only as an actor, but as a fan, I'm sure for you, that kind of validates too, that your career is certainly headed in the right way when you get to star opposite the likes of this sort of cast and Bruce Willis.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a step forwards.
No question.
Yeah.
John, I'm always curious on films like that, like I mentioned Alien and the Star Treks, the Star Wars, in a sense, when everything takes place in a sense inside a ship, right? The world of this movie is inside that ship. How do you go about creating that so it feels at home when you're watching it, like that is a real ship and that's legitimate in every sense, and that whole world, that whole story, the whole film takes place in that space, in a sense, in a closed space. You don't have that world of changing locations and scenes. How important is it to create that sort of ship and that world, and how do you approach it? I was always curious about how kind of the movie making makes it happen and makes it feel so real in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny, and Cody can talk about this too. Is like we were inside like an old gym, so when you're not in the ship,
oh wow,
it's like a very different vibe than what you're seeing on camera. But it is a lot of that, and that's what was great about Cody and all those actors too. Is there's a lot of having to sort of, saying like use your imagination a little bit here, because it's. But what we tried to do is build as much practically as we could, so that there wasn't a ton of green screens around, and so that there'd be like an environment for the actors to interact with. So we definitely tried to have that be the focus. But one thing that is nice is there's not a lot of location moves, and having it so contained, it helps because you can sort of focus a lot more on working with your cast and not having to be like, all right, we're driving over here and it's gonna be 2 hours of setting up again. And so there's a lot more, there wasn't as much downtime, I think, as you would get in some other situations.
Cody, what about you as an actor to kind of, that's always in a sense difficult. You don't know what's going to happen. You see the movie and it's like CGI and all these things put it together. But as John mentioned, and you guys were at a gym and you got to kind of visualize that for you as a performer. How do you approach that? And how did you do it in a sense, that film, when there's a lot of like green screen work and you got to kind of make that world appear as normal as it is to the viewer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all of us were really excited every time we moved into a new section of the spaceship. Because like John said, they converted this high school gym into this incredible ship with all these different corridors and cryo chambers. And the set department really did magic on this. And it was also like everything happened in the gym. Like we ate our lunches in the gym. We were in this gym the whole shoot essentially, which was very intimate. And it kind of gave us that feeling like we were actually on the ship, which really helped for the telling of the story. So it was great fun.
John, how much does it help you as a director kind of to have, in a sense, your crew kind of, I guess, come together and the actors on screen by having them in the more intimate setting like that, and kind of, in a sense, the location, everything kind of lends it to getting to know each other. Did you think it benefited the film in a sense, having this sort of close quarters in a sense, and having everyone there and spending more time with each other?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it did. And I think another fun part of that is that it, the town itself, there, after we were done, weren't a ton of places to go. So I think there's a lot of people just hanging out. There is a couple locations that are open late, but I think it helped everybody to bond, that there was, it seems like a lot of times it continued afterwards, like after we were done for the day. And most of the crew was all staying in this like sort of motel. So you kind of go down there and they'd all be like sitting out in the, in the parking lot, hanging out. So I think that bonding that a lot of people had was great. And definitely being in those close quarters, I think that helped. And it really was a great crew and a great cast. And so, when you have that situation, it's always makes, my job easier for sure. And everyone's, I think.
Cody, I'm going to ask you, what is it like to work with John? What kind of a director and individual is he? What did you learn from this experience working with him?
Yeah, I mean, this is like John's forte, this genre and this style. Mm-hmm. So it was, John had a very clear vision. So it was really easy to trust his vision, just kind of jump in and allow him to take us on the journey. And know that it's going to turn out great.
It's that faith in him, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That experience already had you comfortable coming on set.
Yeah.
John, I'm going to turn that question kind of to you. What did you learn about Cody through this experience as an actor and as a person? Anything you can share? Any nuggets here that we can unveil, maybe?
Yeah, no, I think, well, likewise, what was great about Cody is he came with a lot of great ideas, and he'd really given the character a lot of thought, and I appreciated that, because he's sort of like, hey, thinking about where he was in his journey and how he was interacting with characters, and so he came up with a lot of great ideas as we were going. I remember there was like one scene in particular where there's like a big turn for his character, and it wasn't quite there in the scripting, and we were trying to figure it out, and I remember like in the moment he kept trying different things, and then Cody came up with something. I was like, yes, that's great, and so there's a lot of those moments that were nice, and he's a really good guy and fun to work with, so that also helped. But yeah, it was great.
Cody, it was kind of hard initially, watching on Daybreak and Riverdale to recognize you. Seem all grown up with the facial hair and just a whole different look to you. It's like you've matured overnight in a sense.
I'm past the point of playing 16-year-olds, I think, in my career.
Yeah, that's the funny part. It's like, oh wow, that's Cody. I had to like do 2 takes, to recognize that.
Yeah.
But did want to ask you about those shows, being part of them. I mean, they've obviously been a big launching pad for a career. What sort of memories do you have of working on, for example, Riverdale, kind of, and how does that help you to get to where you are?
Yeah, Riverdale was definitely the first kind of step into launching my career. It's the first time I've ever really been on a big set like that. So as I went to theater school, I'm from a theater background, so I really didn't know how the film industry works. So Riverdale was a good kind of a school in a way to figure out how to do the thing, So
do you miss it? Do you, I mean, I'm sure you probably had a good time working on it, and obviously kind of being your launching pad in a lot of ways. Do you miss that, or are you kind of, in a sense, looking forward to doing obviously different roles like this one, but would you in a sense do something like that again?
I'm hungry for new roles and new projects. Now I'm at a place where I feel really comfortable on set and really confident with performing in front of the camera. So I'm just excited to jump into new things and see where my career goes, explore new characters.
Makes sense. And you're doing that with this movie. John, I gotta say, man, that Die Hard commercial that you put together, that was a movie I want to see, okay, in so many ways. I need to ask you, how did that come about? I remember at the gym, I'm on an elliptical, and I see this pop, and I'm like, is this a new Die Hard movie I didn't know about? And I'm just watching. It's like a little movie playing itself out. Tell me about that what led to kind of teaming up with the Die Hard batteries to make this happen. I thought it was phenomenal, and I'm just dying to find out if there's any connection maybe to a potential movie that you work with Bruce on this movie and that.
Yeah. Well, no, it was funny where I was actually talking with Cody about this the other night. Is it would seem like the two would be connected, but I work with this agency all the time, and they had come up with the concept, and it was about 8 or 9 months after the movie, they contacted me, and they're like, you're gonna think this is funny, but we've got this idea for this commercial. It's for Advanced Auto Parts. And they're like, and I'm like, what's so funny about it? And they're like, well, we're talking to Bruce Willis. I was like, oh, now I see where the connection is. And so I had to bid on the project against other companies and was really excited to get it. And we shot it all during COVID, which was a pretty crazy experience with all the, how you have to figure everything out as you're going. But no, it was a lot of fun. And, again, growing up a fan of Bruce Willis and of the Die Hard franchise, like it was definitely a great experience just getting to work on it. So that was great.
So did they just basically want to take us back into memory lane, or was this kind of a little potential, a feeler for a movie again, or kind of a reboot in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was what's sort of fun with it, was trying to take you down memory lane, but also having it feel modern, like not like too much of a retro throwback. But, I know that everybody on the team enjoyed working on it and making it, and so I don't get privy to those conversations. I'm sort of brought in for the production part of it, but I'd love to see him reprise the role and doing that again, because I think it's just always fun, when you get to see him doing his thing in that way.
Yeah, and you literally had I knew you must have been a fan because you really had the pulse of it, exactly like as close to movie form. You made it happen. So that's the coolest part of it, was like,
thank you so much.
It felt so authentic to the character and the film too. That.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Cody, wanted to ask you, what are some of your hobbies and interests? What sort of things you like to do in your free time when you're not working, when you're not having a script in your hand, in a sense? What are some things you like to get away to?
I mean, I surround myself a lot with storytelling. I have a theater company in Vancouver. So we, in my downtime, we do end up putting on a lot of plays. We produce plays or I act in plays or direct. I do a little bit of writing. But outside of entertainment, I think I go to the gym. I like hiking, yoga, all that kind of stuff, like being out in nature.
So you live in Vancouver. You're based there, right? Full time.
I'm based here, yeah.
That, this theater thing's really resonating with you. How cool was it? I mean, was it daunting to start a theater company? You don't hear that often. How did you kind of get started with that? That's pretty interesting there. Yeah,
well, I went to theater school in LA and I performed with a few theater companies down there. And then when I moved back to Vancouver, I don't know. I was just, the theater scene here it's kind of, I don't know what's the right word.
Yeah, it's not as prominent as in cities like in Chicago where I am, or New York, right? It's
right. Yeah.
It's forgotten in a sense.
Yeah, and the theater that we do have, it's very much geared towards. There's a lot of big budget musicals and family shows. Mm-hmm. There's not so much like an off-Broadway gritty R-rated theater. So I kind of wanted to bring that to it. So we performed at probably 6 or 7 different theaters. We're kind of moving around. We're called Vagrant Players, so like the name suggests, we're kind of moving around to various artistic homes.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's been really great.
That's fantastic. That's cool that you kind of brought your passion into, in a sense, give it forward to others too, to hone their craft in that way too.
Yeah, because that's where I really got the most experience from like these 99-seat black box theater in LA. So that's the best way to start kind of honing your craft, like you said.
John, I'm going to end it with you. I mean, you've been the sci-fi guy. You must have a life outside of it, certainly, of the sci-fi genre, when you're not coming up with crazy ideas, of aliens and spaceships and all the creative juices in your mind. What do you like to go? What's your outlet, kind of getaway outlet that you like to go towards to clear your mind in a sense?
Oh man, it's a great question. The answer is sad. What I've been doing in sort of since quarantine started is I had made a list of TV shows and movies that I've been wanting to watch, and it just kept getting longer and longer and longer. And then all of a sudden I had 5 months off. So I was like, all right, it's go time. And I just started watching all these shows and movies. And now my list is like 4 things left. So that, Cody can do his yoga and nature walk, sit on the couch and watch movies.
I've been binging a lot of Netflix too during the.
Yeah. Okay. It makes me feel a little better. I'm like, man, he's being so productive. I'm not, but that's mainly been when I'm not dealing with virtual learning with my kids and all that stuff. It's like trying to watch stuff.
No, I like rewatch The Office a couple times during this. And
Any recommendations? I'm right here ready for a recommendation. I've been going through a lot of stuff too. What did you guys see that you really liked?
Well, something I just finished watching, which I thought was pretty fun, was Gangs of London. It's that Gareth Evans show. It's like on AMC Plus or something like that, I think.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, that was the one I just finished, and that it's pretty violent, but I enjoyed it. I'd say.
Okay, that's a good under the radar pick. What about you, Cody? Any picks, recommendations?
I just rewatched the first season of True Detective.
Oh, that's so good.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Highly suggest everyone.
I've been mostly watching a lot of comedy. Like I rewatched like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Rec and The Office, Modern Family. I think just during quarantine, because it's such like a depressing time, I've been watching a lot of comedy.
Smart. And your classics too, for a reason. I think it's everyone's favorite in some way. Well, awesome job, guys. It was so cool to talk to you and see you both. I've been a fan of both of your works, so it's cool to see you combine and venture off to new things too, for you, especially Cody too. So keep on at it, both of you.
Thanks, man. Good talking to you.
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. Great talking to you.
Stay safe and healthy, everyone, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. Have a good one. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bullets were useless.
What about fire?
My work.
All right, who wants barbecue?